I'm Lieutenant McHugh. I'm with the Fulton County Police Department, and I'll be your instructor today for this block on active shooter. A little bit about myself. I'm my 25th year with Fulton County. I'm the Special Operations Commander, SWAT Commander. I am also the Range Master for our police department. I teach general firearms, taser, active shooter, and I'm also an instructor for the Department of Natural Resources. So I get a lot of teaching time. 3 things in my class. 1, we're going to be safe. Obviously, this is not what I normally teach, so hopefully nobody's going to get hurt. 2, hopefully, if I pick a volunteer, somebody might get hurt. So, 2, we're going to learn something. Everybody got a little piece of paper with a yes or no question. If you're going to sit here for an hour, we need to learn something. If you didn't learn something, ask me a question so we can learn something. And the 3rd thing is we're going to have fun. It's the interactive class. Y'all not just going to sit here and listen to me talk. That's boring. So if I call on you or something, I ain't going to pick on nobody, but give me some feedback. All right? So, active shooter. I don't like the term active shooter. The terminology we use is active killer. Why would I use that rather than active shooter? 1, they're trying to kill everybody, and what's the other thing? They're not necessarily shooters. They can do it with a gun, a knife, a car, a bomb. Active killers. It's somebody who's actively trying to hurt you by whatever means. It's not the gun's fault. It could be a hammer. It could be whatever tool they use to get their numbers up. So I use that in conjunction back and forth. So what is an active shooter? An individual actively engaged in attempting to kill people in a confined space or populated area. In most cases, active shooters use firearms and have no pattern or method to their selection of victims. So, active shooter can be in this building. It can be outside, up and down the street. It can be anywhere. So I asked this question of all my classes. So I teach this to police departments, SWAT teams, private businesses, government entities like this. Ask everybody the same question. Raise a hand, who in here considers themselves to be a violent person? Okay, I got 1. I can be. So, why are you pointing at her? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise it. So, real quick. So, since I know this young lady here, you don't consider yourself a violent person. Who do you love the most? But no, not you. Do you have a kid?
Yes.
You have a child. How old's your child?
11 and 12.
11 and 12. So you're at the mall, eating at the food court or whatever, and I just happen to walk by and I grab your 11-year-old and pound him in the floor and just start slapping him, just one time after another. Let's go. You're just going to sit there, right? Right. So, what's she going to do? She's going to jump up. She's going to jump up, and we're going to see some violence. Violence? A lot. Who in here was spanked growing up? That's violence. He was beat. We all were. Real quick. Every year, how many times do you see a boxing match between 2 people? You see it all the time. And all these people pay for it to watch 2 people beat the crap out of each other. That's violence. So it's not necessarily a negative thing. It is positive. Okay? So a point in saying that, we're going to get to a point in the PowerPoint, and we're going to discuss that a little bit further. So most everybody would probably have raised their hands if they knew where I was going with it. So we're going to go over some of the examples of active shooters. This is Charles Whitman, August 1st, 1966. He went up in the top of the Texas Tower in Austin and started shooting people. He had barricaded himself in there. Killed 15 people and wounded 31 as far as 2 blocks away. The outcome of this is he was shot by the officers. From this is where we got SWAT teams. He had barricaded himself in there. It was something new. LAPD said, we got to come up with team tactics, a way to defeat this if this is going to become the norm. Unfortunately, in law enforcement, we're very reactive to stuff. They come up with something, we find a way to defeat it. They change their tactics, we change ours. So it's kind of a progressive thing. I know everybody knows this one. April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School. What's the significance of April 20th? Everybody's going to say it. 420. No. 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 Listen, hey, do they still drug test everybody down here? Obviously not. April 20th is Hitler's birthday. That's why they did this, because they wanted the notoriety of having it on this specific date, because they felt like if Hitler's birthday is mentioned, they will get a connection to it. On that day, they killed 13 people and wounded 20. That number should have been much higher. In this case, it lasted for 46 minutes. The officers were on scene for 43 minutes waiting on SWAT to get there. In 1999, you surrounded the building and wait. And you just wait and wait and wait. It took the officers forever to get there, because what happens when you hear about a school shooting? Who all is going to the school? Every mom and dad's going to try to get to school. All the roads are blocked up. Officers couldn't get there, so they couldn't resolve the situation. They both committed suicide once they knew the officers were in the building. This one, Virginia Tech. Does everybody remember this one? The different thing about this one was he killed 2 people, and then he went and mailed his manifesto to NBC in the middle of all this. What did he want? He wanted the notoriety, but he wanted his story told. He didn't want everybody to investigate it. Here it is in writing. Tell my story. Killed 32 and wounded 23. His number should have been a whole lot higher. He did all of that with 2 pistols. The notoriety of this one was he had actually got people into a classroom and had them line up like they were in a tornado drill up against the wall. And he was in there talking to them and interacting with them, and then pulled out a gun and shot one of them in the back of the head. And then shot number 2 in the back of the head. And just started walking down the line shooting people. This is one of the first instances that we saw that victims started fighting back. So if you're number 7 down here, you know your turn is coming, right? So at some point, somebody stood up and interrupted it. He quit the killing in this room and he fled. He ultimately killed himself once he knew that police were in the building. Some of the common denominators: location familiar to the shooter. If they're going to do something, they're not going to go to a place they've never been and try to recreate the wheel. They're going to go somewhere where they're familiar. This is why we have a lot of workplace violence, where something happens and they show up to their place of work, or they show up to their spouse's place of work. They've been there. If y'all remember the Aurora, Colorado, the opening of Batman Returns, where he came in, that was his hometown. That's the movie theater he always went to, and he knew that he could come in this bottom door, park in the back parking lot, come through this bottom door, shoot people, and go right back out the door and try to escape. It's a familiarity thing. Shooting stops until police confrontation. Statistically, an active shooter is the safest thing a police officer can go to. The absolute safest. 98% of the time, when an officer goes to an active shooter, once the person knows that the police are there, they either surrender or kill themselves. 98% of the time. What else in life is 98%? Hardly no. Taxes and death, everybody says those 2. Other than that, if you had a 98% chance of winning in Vegas this weekend, would you go? Everybody would go and probably sell stuff that they didn't need. And and the rest out of the 98%, the other 3% is the person escapes, somebody else intervenes, kind of like the Virginia Tech, or the officers get involved in a shooting. Statistically, it's the safest thing we can do. The reason being, if I show up and I'm going to engage this person, I'm going to start putting bullets in his chest. That not necessarily is going to kill him, but it's definitely going to hurt. If he shoots himself, it doesn't hurt. He fixes the problem himself. Victim fighting back saved lives. Several instances where victims interrupted where a shooting is going on and somebody else steps up to the person, whether engaged them with a gun or something else, and makes them stop doing. East Houston, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a road rage incident. I don't know if y'all heard about it. And the guy gets out with a rifle, starts shooting, comes up to a car. Guy just an average everyday Joe had his gun in, pulls his gun out, starts shooting through his windshield at the guy who's shooting, and interrupts it, and that guy leaves. So he was able to stop it. They don't want any kind of confrontation. They want to feel like they're in control and they're controlling the whole situation. Warning signs are overlooked. Throughout history, there's a whole bunch of warning signs, whether it be mental issues, saying they want to commit suicide, family issues that leads toward, and people later on, once the shooting happens, then you start seeing all these problems. Well, he said this, he said that, and you start seeing the problems, and they were ignored. 40% of active shooters told a coworker of the intent. And of that, 54%, nothing was done about it. If you hear a coworker say something offline that they're going to shoot this place up, say something. Now, I ain't talking about the jaw jerking back and forth and go, man, I'm going to kill you. We say that as joking. Yeah, I'm just saying. She don't. People, you've heard people say it. Man, if you don't get off my back, I'm going to kill you. Whether they mean it or not, people say it. You know if somebody's saying something credible. Like, I'm so sick of this place, I'm going to shoot this place up. Somebody needs to go tell somebody right then, hey, he may not mean it, he may just be venting. But if he says it and you tell us after the fact, what good have you done us? Nothing. What to expect? If there was an active shooter in this hallway right here and we couldn't get out of here, what would there be? Absolute chaos, panic, because each one of y'all come to work, you get to your desk, you clock in, however you clock in, or do you clock in? You check your email, you look at all your emails, you get disgusted, you go get a cup of coffee, you go back over, do some work, go to a meeting, go to lunch, you do this all throughout the day, and you do it day after day after day after day after day, so you already have it planned. What's your day's gonna look like? And somewhere in the middle of that, gunshot starts firing, people are falling over, people are bleeding, screaming and running. Most people don't have a plan. That interrupts your day, so what do you do? What to expect? Noise, confusion. Sometimes they pull the alarms. There's several instances where somebody has gone to a business or a school and got in a hallway, flipped an alarm, and waited for everybody to come to them. It happens. Victims running, hiding, and frightened. People react differently. Something may happen in here, and 90% of y'all get up and take off running, and 10% just sit in their seat and grab the handles. You never know how people are going to act under stress because of the way they were raised, their life experiences. They may have never seen violence. They lived their whole life. Their mother was a librarian, dad was a preacher, and they ain't never seen nothing like this, and they just go, I'm going to ride this out. Understand, people may grab at you. If you're trying to get out of here, somebody might attach themselves to you because they feel safe. If two people together, this feels nice and fuzzy. You may have to get them off of you. They won't let you go if you can't take them. And understand, on the same line as the alarms going off, they may pull the fire sprinklers. Those may go off. So you can imagine what this is like if you heard gunshot, somebody screaming, somebody falling, bleeding, fire alarms going off, and all of a sudden the sprinklers go off. You're going to be in a meltdown if you don't already have some kind of plan of what you're going to do. Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's true. You can have all your ducks in a row, and that happens to you, and you just kind of melt. First responders. So, let me flip back. What is my job when I get here? I'm the police. When I get here, what is my job? Get a lot of different answers. My job is not to save anybody. I'm not here to save any of you. I'm here to make the person stop. Remember, 98% chance once he knows I'm here, he's either going to kill himself, try to escape, or we're going to get in a gun battle. I've got to let him know that I'm here, one way or the other. If he's shooting, I need him shooting at me, not at shooting at y'all. That's my job. So my job is to make him stop. If he wants me to kill him, that's fine. But I'm not here to save anybody here until it's over, and then we'll backfill and save. On that note, say we get people shot, and you're sitting you're just inside the door, and you've been shot in the leg, and you're bleeding and hurt, and you come up, and you're grabbing me, help me, save me. I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to even look. You're insignificant at this point because I can't help you. If you grab me and hold me and won't let me go, you're going to get punched in the mouth. I will apologize later, and I'll come see you at the hospital, but you got to let me go and go do work. I've got to go do work. I'm going to be nice about it. I ain't just going to start swinging. Okay. So we're here to stop the shooter by whatever means. If he wants to surrender, fine. If he wants to kill himself, fine. He's going to stop doing what he's doing, either under his choice or mine. I don't care. But he's going to stop shooting. We're going to bypass injured people. Like I said, if we're running down, you may see us not even look at you and jump right over you. We can't deal with you right now. We're going to, because in an active shooter, every 30 seconds, historically, every 30 seconds, somebody gets injured or killed in an active shooter. So if I take 4 minutes to pull you out, I just sacrificed 8 people for you, and you still may not make it. That makes no sense. The math doesn't even make sense. May have rifles or shotguns. So y'all have, I don't know if y'all have seen us, we do several events in here. If there's a high profile group of people, like say the governor or somebody high up that's coming here, a lot of times you'll see me or somebody with my SWAT team in here. We're dressed like me, except I'll have a heavy vest on. We'll have some machine guns, long rifles, or whatever. You may see that. We do that occasionally. Most of the time we get positive feedback. We're walking through, they don't think we're the bad guys, and obviously don't call the police on us because we're already here. So feel free to walk up and challenge us. We'll have police on there. I won't have an ID because it'll be under stuff, but you'll know that we're the police. May shout commands and physically push you out of the way. So active shooter happens here. So this is a Fulton County government building. We have Fulton County Police here, and it's backfilled also with security people. We're in the city of Atlanta. So if an active shooter happens, Fulton County Police are going to be the first ones here. City of Atlanta is going to respond, because if you dial 911 right now, you may get our center or you may get Atlanta's. Across the street, you got Fulton County Sheriff, Fulton County Marshals, you got Georgia State Patrol, you got Georgia State Police, you got Georgia Tech. In a very short time, if a 911 call comes in about an active shooter in this building, there's going to be hundreds of police officers here really quick. They don't know you. If you're running out and somebody challenges you, do what they say. If they let you go by, just keep going, because we don't know who the shooter is. Right. We don't. If we come along and you're running at them and they point a gun at you and tell you to get on the ground, get on the ground. It's not personal, it's business. Because if you're laying on the ground when you're showing me your hands, you're not a threat to me. Make me feel comfortable. You make me feel uncomfortable, then I have to start dealing with you. Don't go, I work here. Don't. No, we're not doing that. I don't know y'all, and I'm not going to do like Miss Brenda did and check IDs. We're not doing that, okay? Just work with us. There's a reason why. We do a lot of training in active shooter. Georgia Tech put us on in one of their buildings and had like 200 or 300. We probably have 200 in here. We probably had this many role players coming at us while we were doing an active shooter scenario. Very realistic. We had injured people, so it's very chaotic. And trying to deal with 2 or 3 people in a panic is bad. You can imagine what 200 people, because all of y'all are wanting to do 200 different things. Make sense? So what to do in an active shooter event? We're going to watch a video put on by the Department of Homeland Security. It's been out for a few years. It's on YouTube, so you can all look at it at a later date if you want to. And we're going to outline the 3 things of run, hide, and fight. Not necessarily in that order, but those are your 3 options. So run. Get away from the shooter or shooters is the top priority. So we have 200 people in here out of, I think there's 1,000 people in the building. If all of y'all can get out and get out of this door and leave, 20% of my problem I don't have to deal with. Does that make sense? So if you're not here, now we're all here and an active shooter goes off here and you work on the 4th floor and you left your purse up there, oh well. I need you out. Don't go running back for your purse because it's Friday and we got plans this weekend. Your purse is staying here all weekend. All right? And I cleared this with the county manager the other day. So if there's an active shooter here and you escape from the building, I don't care what time it is, your day's over. Yes. Everybody understands it? Are you agreeing or are you telling me? Listen, your day is over. We're not going to reopen the business after an active shooter. If it's a true active shooter, this building's probably going to be shut down for an extended period of time for a lot of people to come in. It's going to take us forever to clear this building. Leave your belongings behind and get away. Now, when y'all have fire drills, y'all have staging locations, correct? Don't go to those. When you leave, go. Go to 5 Points, go get on a MARTA bus, get away from here because this is going to be no place to be. You will walk. You shouldn't have left your desk without it. My point is, you trying to come back to get your purse or phone or something like that, all it's going to do is cause 10 times more problems than we already have. So, she's trouble. Help, like I said earlier, help others escape if possible, but evacuate regardless of whether others agree to go. If somebody doesn't want to go and they want to hide up under here, leave them. You can try. Come on, let's go. They're like, no, they're holding on to something. Leave them. That's on them. You tried. Warn and prevent individuals from entering an area where the active shooter may be. So we all run out here and half of you go this way and half of you go that way, and people are trying to get in the building. Go ahead and holler at them. Hey, get away from the building. It's an active shooter. Just go ahead and announce it clear so everybody will continue to run away from here. And don't run across the street and go into that building because they're probably going to be on lockdown. Across the street, the court, if they hear about it, they're probably going to lock it down anyway. Call 911 when you're safe and describe shooter locations and weapons. Do the best you can. Anytime we get a 911 call on an incident and say 10 people call, all 10 calls are different. Right. Give it the best you can. People will call it, there'll be 2 people shooting, and people will call in and said there was 4 or 5. Because in their mind, they saw this and they saw that. Not that they're wrong, but people see what they see. Under hide. Get out of the shooter's view and stay very quiet. Think about your prospective departments and where you can hide. If you're in a key code access and nobody can get in, it may be smarter to leave there, stay there. Now, it's inevitable, and once I teach this, somebody's going to come down at the end of the class and go, okay, I'm here, and if it happens, what do I do? It may be different 2 minutes from then, whether was the key code access open, closed, what's going on, So, don't hide in groups, spread out along the walls, hide separately to make it more difficult for the shooter. So the reason I said don't go and say you evacuate to your evacuation drill points where everybody's together, if he gets out of the building and runs down the street and sees a whole group of people sitting there, he may take that opportunity to get his numbers up. Does that make sense? Spread out, get away from everybody. And don't hide in groups. Pretend it's hide and seek. If you're hiding in the building, you never wanted somebody right on top of you, right? So that doesn't mean if y'all have a copy room and 4 of y'all running in there and Karen shows up and won't see in, you don't have to stiff arm her and keep her out. Go and let her in. So, y'all are laughing because y'all know who y'all going to leave out, right? Y'all are rough. Try to communicate with police silently, use text message or social media. That's one of the new things. Obviously, people go in and check in. I'm safe. You know, they start posting all over social media. You know, it's 2019. That's what we do now. Stay in place until law enforcement gives you the all clear. So if there's an active shooter in this building and you're on the 4th floor and you're in a key code access, you will eventually see a police officer. We're going to check this place, every square inch of this building from bottom to top, to make sure there wasn't another person. All right? So we will come there. You will check in. We'll probably take your information. You'll probably have somebody that's going to interview you. You know, so your hiding place should be out of the shooter's view and provide protection if shots are fired. Just use common sense in that. You know, on your hiding spots. You may not have a place to hide. Do the best you can. Fight. This gets to the point where I was asking everybody, were they violent? There may be a time that you have to fight your way out of it. The 9/11 hijackers, the last plane that went down, they have 3 or 4 guys said, if we're going to do this, if we're going to die, we're going to do it on our terms. That's the way I live my life. If I'm going to do it, you're going to get me, we're going down fighting, if that's what it takes. The last resort, but do it. If you're going to do it, commit to your actions and act as aggressively as possible against the shooter. Everybody understand that? If you're going to do it 100%. If that means stabbing him with a pair of scissors, as one of the attorneys from across the street said, asked could she wrap her cord off of her computer around his neck and choke him. I don't care. I mean, that was her weapon of choice. Don't care, whatever it means. If you see somebody, y'all listen up. If you see somebody doing this and you want to jump in, feel free. It's probably going to be a free-for-all at that point. Look at you agreeing. She's over here ready to jump in. If y'all remember the guy that stabbed 6 people and ended up killing 4, I forget where it was. A group of people jumped him, and actually one guy had a milk crate upside down on his head, forcing it over his head, and everybody else was standing on top of him. Some people were getting some free shots in there. You kind of fully expect that. You know, if one of your friends gets shot, somebody's going to get in there and bounce around his head a little bit. Recruit others to ambush the shooter with makeshift weapons. A lot of people aren't self-motivated, but if you can recruit a bunch of people, if you go, hey, come on, we're going to die, let's do this, you can probably motivate people to do it. It takes very little bit. You know, if you go, hey, you can die on your own terms, we're fixing to go beat this guy's ass, you know, whatever. You know, a lot of people will get motivated if they see somebody doing something. Be prepared to cause severe or lethal injury to the shooter. We all see violence in movies, and it's super cool, and blood flying and all that. In real life, it's real. You take a pair of scissors, because one young lady was sitting up here the other day, she said her weapon of choice was going to be her pair of scissors. She said, I'm going to stab him in the neck. Understand? That's going to get the job done, but there's going to be a tremendous amount of blood. You need to be prepared for that. If you go, one lady was talking about she was going to stab him in the eyeball. That's very personal. And it's not like you're just going to stick it and it's like in the movies. It's going to be very violent and a lot of blood. Be prepared for that if you decide to do that. Throw items and improvised weapons to distract the shooter. Do what you can. How many weapons are in your prospective departments? A lot. If you can, it depends on what it is. If you hit somebody hard enough with it, it's a weapon. Y'all heard people say, well, I'm going to rip your arm off and beat you with it. If that's your weapon, find something, whether it's a chair, fire extinguisher, anything. After the event, keep your hands visible and empty. So, shooter's gone down, and you know that police are in the building, make us feel comfortable. Don't, if the officers are coming up, like, hey, I got my ID in my purse, start digging around your purse. Don't do that. Just be calm. If we need to see your ID, we will, and ask you for it. Follow law enforcement instructions and evacuate. Do what they say, even if it doesn't make any sense. If somebody they may put you on the ground and handcuff you. Well, I work here. Don't care. Just react off of us. We're here to fix a problem. We work better when we feel safe. Take care of yourself first and then be able to help the others. So as people are coming out, if you see somebody that's wounded, help them out, because EMS is not coming in here. There'll be 40 ambulances and fire trucks lined up around here. They're not coming in ever. The wounded are going to have to be taken out to them. They're not equipped to come in. They don't have bulletproof vests. They don't have the training to come in. If the injured or immediate help gets them to safety, like I said. Provide first aid to people. How much is everybody's life in here worth? Invaluable. Invaluable. How many in here have purchased your own tourniquet to save your own life?
I'm sorry?
How many people have purchased a tourniquet to save your own life? Well, y'all ain't as valuable as you thought. I got one. Ace bandage. So you can go on Amazon, everywhere. If you're invaluable, go buy you a tourniquet. These are made by Tactical Medical Solutions. That's who we buy ours from. They're $30. So if you're invaluable, buy you a tourniquet and throw it in your purse or in your cargo pants or whatever. Keep it at your desk. This will keep you from bleeding out. If you get shot in the leg and you hit the femoral artery, you're looking at probably 30 seconds before you die. If you have this, you can shut the blood flow off. When it's over, you're going to be able to have your life saved. Otherwise, you're going to... Okay, she mentioned a belt. People have used improvised ones, but you can't get it tight enough. It will slow it down some, yes. And there have been some that have been very effective. But if everybody in here said their life is priceless, spend $30 and get one. They're very inexpensive. They're small enough you can hide them, like I said, in your purse, in your car. I probably own personally 20. Anytime, if there's an active shooter and I come in this building, I'll have 4 on me because I have 4 extremities. That's what they cut the blood flow off on your extremities. If you're injured, you cannot have one until the shooting's over. After the shooting's over, I will come back and apply one. Because I've spent $30 times 4 to save me. Now, I will render first aid. We'll get it shut off. They're one-time use, so the doctor will actually cut it off. It's not going to be reused. But you've been to my class. I suggested you buy it. If I have to put it on you, I'm going to come to meet you after you get out of the hospital, and I want my $30. Fair enough? Now, that don't mean that y'all going to go, well, he's already going to bring one, so I'll just give him $30 later. No. Yes, ma'am. What I recommend when I go, so I do these for businesses and I tell them, you need to have at least one tourniquet for every person that you want to save. Bank of America, 6,000 Fellwood Road, it's an 8-story building. I think they had like 800 people there. They had none. I said, y'all already made enough interest in the time I've been in this class to buy every person on the planet one. At least buy 800, buy 1,000 of them and have them on each floor. Makes sense. Additionally, at the bottom, consider seeking professional help for you and your family to cope with the long-term effects. We have EAP. If you're involved in this and you're having issues, call EAP. They will help you. You'll get you some help. So how to prepare for an active, this thing's not working today. If you see something, say something to an authority right away. Situational awareness is the biggest thing. If you don't say something and something happens, are you going to feel like it's your fault? Somebody say yes. Yes. I'll tell you a quick story. I have a girlfriend that was flying out of Hartsville. People were in line, say this is one of the railings. Guy was talking on his phone, whatever, set a black backpack down. It was messing on his phone and then walked off from it. I knew she was at the airport. All of a sudden, I got a picture of a black backpack, a picture of a guy walking away with a cell phone to his ear, and she said, hold on to these. Well, I knew where she was at, but I wasn't going to respond. What happened was she notified TSA. They went and captured this guy and brought him back to his bag. What could that have been? It could have been a bomb. Or it could have been a dry run. He might have said, I'm here during this time of day, I'm going to set a bomb down and I'm going to see how far I can get away from it. With a whole bunch of people. In 2019, you can't set a bag near a group of folks and walk off. That's unacceptable. Good situational awareness. If something doesn't look right, if a guy walks in here today and he's wearing a jacket and stocking cap and overdressed, say something. It's going to be 90-something degrees today. I'm sweating right now in this air condition. I would say he's trying to hide something. Maybe not. No harm, no foul. But if he's, we come and talk to him and there's nothing to it, he just happens to be cold, oh well. Sign up to receive local emergency alerts and register your work, personal contact information, and be aware of your environment and any possible dangers. Make a plan with your family and ensure everyone knows what they would do if confronted with an active shooter. So take what you've learned today and go back to your family and ask your kids, what's y'all's plan at school? Ask your husband or wife, what's your plan at work? If something happens, we need to have a common place that we go and call and check in. If you don't have your phone or purse, do something so everybody knows, because the last thing you want is an active shooter to happen here and you not talk to your spouse or somebody for several hours. They're going to be in absolute panic, and then they're going to bring their ass down here, and it's going to be even more. No, I'm going in this building. Y'all know how people get, well, you can't keep me out of this building. Yeah, we can, So, look for the nearest exits. So anytime you're in this building, know where all your exits are. If you come in this auditorium, you should know we can go out this door, we can go back up and go out. Know where your exits are. Don't just be oblivious of, I just work on this floor. This is what I would do. And understand plans for individuals with disabilities. So if somebody's in your area is disabled, if somebody wants to hide up under here and they're functional and they can walk, if they want to stay fine. If somebody's disabled, take the extra effort. Hey, if you may have to pick that person up out of their wheelchair or whatever and take them. It's like, come on, let's go. So we're going to watch this video. Oh, real quick, before we watch the video, because I don't want that to cause any additional questions. Anybody got any observations, questions?
I do. Does our contracted security team here, do they take this class as well?
I'm not sure if anybody has taken it or not for this. They do? He said this, yes. I've had so many classes. This is the 9th class I've taught, so.
Oh, okay.
Are they not specially trained, our security personnel, for active training or active shooter training?
I'm not sure. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Are we required,
Y'all listen up.
is this building required to have first aid kits on each floor?
We do have, okay. I don't work out of this building. I work out over near Charlie Brown Airport. Roderick says yes, they do.
Okay.
But like I said, I suggest people to buy their own tourniquets, because if you're waiting on somebody else to take care of you, that's usually a problem. If you can go ahead and get on Amazon and have it here Monday, you fix one of your problems.
If we did have an active shooter situation, would the elevators be shut off?
I don't believe they're going to be shut off because we don't want anybody to be trapped. And people have asked this question, do I stay on the 4th floor? Do I try to get in the basement? It's all situational. We could have an active shooter here in the atrium and every floor above us not even know it even happened. Right. I mean, somebody may have to come to your department and go, hey, y'all go ahead and clock out and get, that's just what happens. Another question is, do we have an alert system for here? No, because if you're,
We
well,
do. We've instituted Code Red, and floor leaders and other people can sign up, and we'll send notifications through the Code Red system, and it'll be everybody that's in the building that we are aware of a phone extension or your computer. You will receive a message directly to one of those two. If you've signed up and you made a phone available, such as a cell phone, we will push a signal through that as well.
okay, that's new to me. So we do have a system now.
And to your point about tourniquets, we're
Yeah.
also beginning to look at and work with putting a tourniquet case on every floor that there's an AED. So anywhere you'll see an AED, there'll be a tourniquet kit that'll be installed in the future.
So definitely something positive there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if we could just also possibly train our security, like when they
too long.
Right, so we're currently reviewing what I would call operational procedures for evacuations and looking to make some changes to those and how they form and how they function relative to all emergencies.
Thank you so much, because I've already got my person headed out.
Right.
Because I don't know what's going on. Thank you.
Well, you should always do whatever makes you feel personally comfortable, regardless of whatever else anybody is doing, but we are looking at the procedures on what we do and how we do and how we communicate.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to look at this video real quick, and it's going to spark some other questions.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference: run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important: you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
So I get the same reaction every time about that one part of the video. Why is everybody laughing at Karen? So I told y'all not to let Karen in the copy room earlier, right? So now she's in there and causing a ruckus, and y'all are trying to hide and be quiet, and she's all upset. Understand that people come from different walks of life. They've had different life experiences. She ain't never seen no like this. So she's going to react different. So, y'all listen up. Listen up. So this young lady who did not raise her hand earlier and said she was violent just asked me, could she knock her out? Okay. So you don't do, okay. Personally, I'm going to put her to sleep. I'm going to put her in her full rear naked choke and put her to sleep. So don't do what, don't do what I do. You do what you can get away with. So I would start off gently by, and then step it up like you're trying to get stuck, but eventually she's got to stop. I'm not telling you to go hit one of your coworkers and knock them out. Start off slow, see if we can get them to be quiet. So every class somebody says, can I knock her out? Every class. So any takeaways from the video? Any questions before we break? Yes, ma'am.
Like the lady who was in the copy room, she turned off the light.
Yes?
Say, it's shooting happened, and they're knocking on the door and they're saying police. Should you open it?
Okay, so we got this same question on everyone. So if y'all couldn't hear, she's in the copy room, she's in there by herself. She hadn't heard any shots in an hour, and somebody comes along and says, police. So there's really no way. I mean, you can get as creative as you want to. We've had people one time in a home invasion. Lady was barricaded herself in her closet. We got there, was nobody there. She wouldn't come out of the closet. Ma'am, it's the police. I don't know that it's you. Okay. This door is coming open. You can either open it or I'm going to open it. But you just tear the door off if you want to. I ain't open it. What we ended up having to do, I ended up taking my ID and slide it under the badge. And I said, call 911 and ask them who's here. And they'll say my name. And that was the way she opened the door up. Otherwise, I was going to go get the Ram out of the truck and bust her door down. And then she was going to get pissed off that I tore her door up. So it's your comfort level. We don't know of any reported cases of an active shooter where somebody comes through and trying to play the police. Oh, it's fine. Is that going to happen? Or is that a possibility? Yes. It's your comfort level. You may want to spend the night in the copy room. Who knows? Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question in regards to the push notification. Will that signal go out to anybody in Fulton, no matter what department you work in? Because when Brian Nichols was shooting in the courthouse, not one announcement, even though these buildings are connected by a bridge.
Well, yeah, but you got, the shooting, that particular shooting was across the street, and it all happened so fast. I mean, there's not gonna be a perfect system or a perfect application every single time. If all the desk phones of the people that we know in this building have been registered in Code Red, and We have the computers that are registered. So unless you make your phone available to us, your personal cell phone, we won't have a way to push that through to people. But it will go to the desk phone and to the computer if that is what's needed for notification.
It won't go on like Fulton County News, it'll pop up on our cell phones and on our computers, if you're not in this building or in the building where it's happening.
We may push it through Fulton County News, yeah. You gotta remember, it depends upon the circumstances and the time. The full code news is not set up as an urgent response or push right now. We can certainly look at that. If you've got a county phone, your county phone has been registered automatically.
Okay, I'm just asking, 'cause like, I work for elections, so if I don't work at this building. So if I'm at the warehouse en route to this building, I would know unless you send it to a cell phone.
Right, if you have a county phone or you wanna register your cell phone with code red, we're happy to be able to do that. I mean, I will just tell you that most people that and I've worked at other municipalities, don't typically wanna give their cell phone numbers to the organization. So that's a personal choice that you have to make. If it were my case, I would want to, if they were pushing a code red or something through it, I would want personally my personal cell phone to get that notification. But that's a personal choice that you all have to make in concert with us. If you have a county cell phone, it will come to your county cell phone and notification.
I've also, just to piggyback on your thing, I've also signed my family up, my wife is signed up for the alerts as well, just in case something happens here, not only am I being alerted, she's being alerted, and we're being alerted. So if we're on any sort of lockdown, their building's being evacuated, Code Red could also let them know in the event that I can't let them know.
Right.
How do we sign up?
Pardon me?
How do we sign up for it?
Go through, probably the best thing is to go through your director and let him know that you want to be entered into the system, and we'll enter you into
It's
the
still on the website, right? They can just go click it.
Is it? Okay, there you go. Which website?
I believe it's on the 911 page, if we had a banner on it, I haven't checked it.
Okay,
It's
so check the 911 website, and if not, let your director know.
Any other questions? None? Appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Marty.
See you, sir.